lethal promise. Cancel my meetings for the rest of the week. I am going to tear Dominic's entire life apart, brick by brick, with my own 2 hands. He threw away a queen. Now, he's going to meet the devil. Victoria awoke to the rich, dark aroma of espresso and the feeling of heavy silk sheets against her skin. She blinked against the bright morning light, flooding through floor-to-ceiling windows. For a panicked second, she thought she was back on the cold pavement. But as her eyes adjusted, she realized she was in a sprawling master bedroom overlooking the breathtaking Chicago skyline, right near the top of the Waldorf Astoria on Walton Street. She sat up, wincing slightly as her bruised feet brushed the high-thread count linens. On the mahogany nightstand sat a silver tray with a steaming cup of coffee, a fresh croissant, and a small velvet jewelry box. The bedroom door clicked open, and Aidan walked in. In the daylight, he was even more intimidating and devastatingly handsome. He wore a crisp white dress shirt with the sleeves rolled up, revealing forearms inked with intricate, dark tattoos that hinted at a violent past. "Good morning," Aidan said, his voice a low rumble that sent a pleasant shiver down her spine. He walked over and sat on the edge of the mattress. "How are your feet?" "Better," Victoria whispered, pulling the silk sheet up over her chest, suddenly intensely aware of her nakedness beneath Aidan's oversized coat from the night before. "Aidan, I don't know what to say. Thank you for saving me." "You saved me first, Victoria," he replied, his dark eyes tracing the soft lines of her face. "I'm just returning the favor, but I intend to do much more than that." He gestured to the closet. "I had Liam arrange a few things for you." Victoria hesitantly slipped out of bed, keeping the coat wrapped tight, and opened the massive walk-in closet. She gasped. It was filled with rows of designer clothing, Gucci, Prada, Christian Dior, all perfectly sized for her lush, plus-size figure. There were cashmere sweaters, silk dresses, and tailored coats. "Dominic always told me," Victoria's voice cracked. "He said designers didn't make beautiful clothes for women my size. He refused to let me buy anything nice unless I lost weight." Aidan was behind her in a second. He didn't touch her, respecting her boundaries, but his presence was a heavy, comforting heat against her back. Dominic is a weak, insecure boy who wouldn't know a goddess if she was standing in his foyer. You are a masterpiece, Victoria. Every curve, every soft edge. A king needs substance to hold on to, not a collection of bones. Do not ever let a worthless man dictate your value. Tears pricked her eyes, but this time they weren't tears of sorrow. They were tears of profound relief. For the first time in 5 years, she felt seen. While Victoria bathed and dressed in a stunning navy blue cashmere dress that hugged her curves in ways that made her feel powerful, Aidan was busy in his study. The true devastation of Dominic's life was already in motion. Across the city, at the prestigious firm of Caldwell and Hayes, Dominic confidently strode into the lobby, his Patek Philippe watch gleaming under the chandeliers. He was nursing a slight hangover, but otherwise felt fantastic. Kicking Victoria out had been the best decision of his life. He was ready to conquer the day and take Jessica to Aspen for the weekend. He swiped his keycard at the executive elevator. The light flashed red. Access denied. Frowning, Dominic tried again. Red. "Mr. Sky." Dominic turned to see 2 massive security guards flanking the firm's HR director. "Your keycard has been deactivated, Dominic. Please come with us." "What the hell is going on?" Dominic demanded, as he was ushered into a small, windowless conference room on the ground floor. Richard Caldwell, the firm's senior partner, sat at the table looking grim. "You're done here, Dominic. As of 8 a.m. this morning, you are terminated." "Terminated?" Dominic slammed his hands on the table. "I bring in $20 million a year. You can't fire me. I'm a senior partner." "You were a senior partner," Caldwell corrected, wiping sweat from his brow. "Last night, a private equity group, Vanguard Holdings, bought a controlling 51% stake in this firm. Their very first directive this morning, non-negotiable, was your immediate termination. They also seized your client portfolio and voided your severance package due to a newly discovered breach of contract clause." "Vanguard Holdings? I've never even heard of them," Dominic yelled, his face turning purple. "Clear out your desk, Dominic. Security will escort you." Seething, Dominic stormed out onto the street and pulled out his phone to call Jessica. He needed a drink. He dialed her number. It went straight to voicemail. Furious, he hailed a cab and headed straight to the Yves Saint Laurent boutique on the Magnificent Mile, where Jessica had planned to go shopping that morning. He found her at the register, about to purchase a $6,000 handbag. "Jess, my firm just screwed me over," Dominic panted, running up to her. "Put the bag back. We need to figure this out." "Excuse me," Jessica scoffed, eyeing him with disdain. "I'm not putting anything back. You promised me this bag." She handed her card, linked to Dominic's Chase bank account, to the cashier. The cashier swiped it. "I'm sorry, sir. The card is declined." "Try it again," Dominic snapped, pulling out his black American Express. "Use this." The cashier swiped the black card. "Declined. Sir, it says your accounts have been frozen pending a federal fraud investigation." "Fraud?" Dominic choked out. Jessica looked at the declined cards, then at Dominic's panicked face. Without a word, she snatched her sunglasses from the counter, turned on her stiletto heel, and walked out of the store. "Jess, wait!" Dominic called out. "Don't call me Dom," she tossed over her shoulder. "I don't do broke." In less than 12 hours, Aidan Moretti had systematically dismantled Dominic's career, his finances, and his ego. But the mafia boss wasn't finished. The physical destruction was complete. Now it was time for the psychological checkmate. 2 weeks passed. For Victoria, they were a dream. Aidan treated her with a devotion bordering on religious reverence. He took her to private dinners, walked with her along the frozen shores of Lake Michigan, with a dozen armed guards maintaining a discreet distance, and slowly rebuilt her shattered confidence. She began to see herself through his eyes, beautiful, worthy, and powerful. Dominic, however, was living in a nightmare. His bank accounts remained locked in a perpetual investigation. His car was repossessed. His friends in the financial sector stopped returning his calls, mysteriously terrified of being associated with him. Desperate, Dominic received a heavy, wax-sealed envelope slipped under his door. It was an exclusive invitation to the Winter Gala at the Field Museum, a billionaire's playground. The host's name was blank, but Dominic saw it as a lifeline. If he could just network, borrow some capital, he could bounce back. The night of the gala, Dominic sneaked past the coat check, wearing his only remaining tailored suit, which now hung loosely on his stressed, thinning frame. The grand hall of the Field Museum was breathtaking, lit by thousands of crystal candles, filled with Chicago's absolute elite. Dominic grabbed a glass of champagne, his eyes scanning the room for Richard Caldwell or any of his old clients. Suddenly, a hush fell over the room. The string quartet stopped playing. Dominic turned toward the grand staircase. At the top stood a man radiating pure, lethal authority, Aidan Moretti. The city's elite parted like the Red Sea, lowering their heads in a mix of terror and deep respect. But Dominic barely noticed the mafia boss. His eyes were locked on the woman holding Aiden's arm. It was Victoria. She was a vision. She wore a custom emerald green silk gown that draped flawlessly over her lush curves, a daring slit revealing a sleek, confident stride. Diamonds glittered at her throat and wrists, but they paled in comparison to the radiant, fierce glow of her hazel eyes. She didn't look like the broken, weeping woman he had thrown out in the rain. She looked like a queen. "Victoria," Dominic whispered, dropping his champagne glass. It shattered on the marble floor. Aiden's dark eyes locked onto Dominic. A terrifying, predatory smile curved the mafia boss's lips. He leaned down, whispering something into Victoria's ear that made her smile, before the two of them descended the stairs and walked straight toward Dominic. "Victoria," Dominic gasped as she stopped in front of him. He reached out instinctively, but Liam, stepping from the shadows, slammed a heavy hand onto Dominic's chest, stopping him dead. "Do not touch my wife," Aiden said, his voice quiet, yet carrying enough menace to freeze Dominic's blood. "Wife?" Dominic stammered, looking frantically between them. "Victoria, what is this? Who is this man? Have you been sleeping with him behind my back?" Victoria let out a soft, elegant laugh. It was a sound completely devoid of pity. "You threw me out, Dominic. You said I was garbage. You said I was too fat for your high society life." She gestured to the room of billionaires staring at her in awe. "It seems my new husband's society suits me much better." "Victoria, please," Dominic begged, the reality of his situation crashing down on him. He realized, with sudden, horrifying clarity, who had orchestrated his downfall. "You have to help me. I have nothing. My accounts are frozen. I lost my job. Jessica left me. I'm ruined." "I know," Victoria said coldly. "And frankly, Dominic, I don't care." Aiden stepped forward, towering over the broken man. "You made a grave mistake, Dominic. You thought you were discarding a burden, but you threw out a diamond because you were too stupid to know its worth. I bought Vanguard Holdings just to fire you. I froze your Chase accounts." Dominic trembled, tears of humiliation welling in his eyes. "Please, I'll leave the city. Just give me my house back. Give me my life back." Aiden pulled a folded legal document from his tuxedo pocket and dropped it onto Dominic's chest. Dominic fumbled to catch it. "What is this?" Dominic choked out. "That is an eviction notice," Aiden smiled darkly. "I bought the debt on your pristine, modern house on Oak Street this morning. You missed one mortgage payment due to your frozen accounts. I foreclosed on it. The locks were changed 10 minutes ago. Your clothes have been thrown on the front lawn." Dominic stared at the paper, his jaw unhinged in absolute horror. No, you can't do this. Where am I supposed to go?" Victoria looked him up and down, her expression perfectly serene. "It's cold out tonight, Dominic. I suggest you start walking." She turned her back on him, slipping her hand into Aiden's. "Throw him out," Aiden ordered his men. "Make sure he uses the alley door." As two of Aiden's massive enforcers grabbed Dominic by the armpits and dragged his kicking, sobbing form out of the gala, Victoria felt a profound weight lift from her shoulders. Aiden pulled her close, his hand resting possessively on the curve of her hip. "Are you all right, mia dolcezza?" he murmured, pressing a kiss to her temple. "I am perfect," Victoria smiled, looking up at the ruthless, terrifying man who had given her the world. "Take me home, Aiden." And as they walked out into the crisp Chicago night, surrounded by wealth, power, and untouchable security, Victoria knew she would never be left out in the cold again. The king had found his queen, and the syndicate would bow to her forever. And that is how a broken wife transformed into the untouchable queen of the Chicago underworld. Dominic thought he could throw Victoria away like trash, but he didn't realize he was dealing with the devil himself. What did you think of Aidan's brutal revenge? Did Dominic get exactly what he deserved? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you loved this dramatic mafia romance, smash that like button, share with your friends, and subscribe for more daily revenge stories.